I think everything in our house was always about giving back. And my mom, she was like, this is why you were created. Our gifts and our skills are meant to serve others.
My parents taught us about Tikkun Olam, or healing the world. We have an obligation to give back to our community.
When you see the way that the natural world interacts, everything is balanced and in harmony. Nothing is taking more than it actually needs.
We're product designers. We every day think about people and their needs, pivot that to, okay, here's this one family that could use our help. Let's design a home for them.
Nuevo means new in Spanish, and what we were trying to do is a new approach to teach anybody. So it was 5 of us. We met at a cafeteria here on campus, and we were like, okay, this is what I'm thinking. It's like, I cannot do it by myself. It has to be a group effort.
It's hard to combat some of the systemic issues without the help of large organizations like Microsoft.
The amount of change that you can enact from inside a company like Microsoft is so much larger than what you could really accomplish on your own.
And at the end of the day, that feeling that you get when you help somebody else, there's no other feeling like it.
Just start very small, get comfortable with it, and just grow from there.
And the company wants it. They celebrate it, so do it.
Okay, welcome, Beatrice.
Yeah, good morning. So I'm super happy that you got to see the video, because I think that's just part of the embodiment of the community at Microsoft that wants to give back. So I'll share my STEM journey today. More than happy to answer questions as we go through it. And this picture that I have right here, I hope you can see the presentation. It is the last hackathon we have in person. So Microsoft hosts a big hackathon called 1 Week. And that is when the entire company, regardless of where you are in the world, gets to participate in this big hackathon, and is where we at Nuevo Foundation get to make the majority of content. So hopefully this year we get to also be in person and enjoy and make more content for kids that come from underrepresented backgrounds. So a little bit about me. I'm from Venezuela. I was born in San Cristobal, which is in the Andes of the country. And I always enjoy playing video games, like playing sports. I was interested in the science since I was growing up, but I had no idea this thing called computer science existed. That wasn't just something that we could learn at school or that the teachers would tell you. It was mostly about like engineering, but more in the chemical engineering or petroleum engineer, things like that, but not necessarily into computer science. But I always like computers in the sense of I was curious of how computers work, how video games work, how the software and hardware interact. So that was just part of my curiosity. And then like my last year of high school, when you get to prepare for university, you have to take some test. And the university that I wanted to go to study, I didn't make it. I didn't pass the test. I was super close. It was one multiple choice option, what made the difference, but I didn't get it. So because of that, I had the opportunity to go to Berlin, Germany. That's the map at the top. And I got to go to high school again, learn a new language, learn how technology is embedded in every day. For example, in Venezuela, the public transportation and things like that had nothing to do with technology. But in Germany, like technology was just embedded everywhere. You could see that how like the public transport, how we use it, how the schools had systems and trackings and fun things like that. That to me was very inspiring, how tech could be involved in such social settings. So I did that in my high school year. I get more interested into how computers work and how they're embedded into society and the tech and all that. And at that point in Venezuela, it was just very hard to go back to college just because there was being strikes. For those of you that know a little bit about Venezuela, it's kind of hard to talk about it without going into politics. But the government that was installed, it just was not a good time to be a university student due to strikes or things that would happen at universities. So what I did is I went to Florida to do tryouts for basketball, and I also got scholarship for academic outstanding. And so I got the opportunity to go to Wisconsin for university. I thought I seen snow in Germany. Wisconsin was another game. That's just like unbelievable how cold it was and the amount of snow and all that. But I had the opportunity to take my first coding classes, to open a computer, to examine how it worked, and that was amazing. To me, I had the chance to have some internships in Wisconsin, and I got the chance to go to China to study abroad in Shanghai, which is close to Hong Kong, and to learn a little bit about how Chinese people conduct business, how the manufacturers work. It was very interesting and fun for me to see other side of the world and how manufacturing for like all the batteries and things like that get made. So I had that. And then while being in China, it was a group of us of like, I don't know, 30 to 35 students. And 3 of us got asked if we would like to go and do some research in India. So I obviously accepted. I'm like, okay, yes, I would love to learn any country that I can visit or learn about the culture and how to do business. Sign me up. So we got to go to India and work and investigate how internationals and multinational companies change the culture of the Indian folks. So we had the chance to visit companies in tech all around the South, and also we got to go to New Delhi and go to university there to see how the students get prepared for the work for the tech field. So that was very, very exciting. And then I was super lucky to get an interview with Microsoft. And I got to start at Microsoft the day before Satya got appointed. So my second day at the company, I got to see Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer, and Satya Nadella, which was like very, very fun. So yeah, I've been working in Microsoft for about 8 years. And then part of being at Microsoft and having that spirit of giving back is when we decided to start Nuevo Foundation, which I talk about a little bit. So what do I do? So I work on this team called Azure Usage Billing. And what we do is we make sure that all the usage billing information from services within Azure, we get to execute the billing logic. We can make sure that it's compliant. We create pipelines that connect that usage billing to another department at Microsoft. That is the one that goes and sends the receipts to the customers. So it's about data aggregation, execution of the usage billing. A little bit about Nuevo Foundation. So Nuevo Foundation mission is to inspire kids to be curious, confident, and courageous by discovering the world of STEM. So the reason we want to focus on being curious, confident, and courageous is because we understand that there are schools that have STEM programs, or that there are other extracurricular programs within the schools that can teach kids STEM. But for us, it's more about how do we make sure that the kids that might not know about computer science, that might not know the repercussions that it could have in their careers, how do we make sure that they get curious? How do we teach in a way that's somehow fun, that's more of a storytelling and not necessarily like, this is ones and zeros, this is a function, this is a loop, and let's move forward. Confident in the sense that we want to make sure that we don't have to be there at Nuevo for any kid around the world to be able to do their own coding workshops that are available on our website. And courageous, as we are not necessarily like every week or every day type of program. We come into the schools and we give them the tools to the students and make sure that that curiosity is sparked, that they're confident to do it on their own, and then they're courageous to go and keep pursuing about computer science. So because we're all engineers and we like numbers, we've been able to teach underrepresented kids how to code in 32 countries. The plus in there is because we've been able to go to certain territories such as Puerto Rico to teach students coding. We do so in English, in Spanish, and in Hindi. And we have 3 chapters. So there's one here in Redmond, Washington, that focuses on the Americas. We have one in India. And then we have one in Western Australia in Perth. We've been able to teach more than 1,100 or 11,000 diverse students. And then we survey them just to make sure that we can get better in the way that we teach and making sure that what we're teaching is also a little bit challenging but fun. So we survey the students when we have an event, and 92% of them are more interested in STEM, and 90% of them believe that they learn how to code. What do we do at Nuevo? We do 3 programs. We do the coding workshops. So our coding workshops are, we teach kids how to code. We have multiple languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, C++, C#. Also, we have our hardware portions for kids that have Arduinos or that have microbits. So we try to mix, especially before the pandemic when things were in person, we were able to do both, to do coding workshops and then the hardware portions. But right now, since still the majority of the events are virtual, we try to focus on one or the other. And so that has been amazing. And based on the needs of the students, so we work with the teachers to make sure that we understand the level of knowledge of the students. And then based on that, we let them pick what do they want to learn. Do they want to learn something related to music, something related to like dogs or cats? Do you want to make a meme? And based on that is what we teach. So today we're teaching 2 classes here in Federal Way, Washington, coding. And they will be learning about how to do a website with HTML and CSS to rescue dogs. So that is the coding workshop. The virtual sessions is a 30-minute talk where you go on a Zoom, on a Google Hangout, on a Microsoft Teams, any medium that the school uses, and then you connect with the entire classroom. And for the first 15 minutes, the speaker gets to share how they got into STEM or how they got into the job that they're on. And then for the other 15 minutes, the students get to ask questions like, why did you choose that major, or why did you choose to change careers? And the goal of that is to show students that there are multiple paths for someone to go into tech, and that there's not necessarily, if you don't follow this straight row, then there's no way you can end up at a tech company. It's more to inspire them that there's so many ways of how people can end in tech, and hopefully they find inspiration from those stories. And the last one is the speaker series. So what that is we go and speak at an auditorium in a middle school or a high school, or we speak in a large audience, or another company, let's say Microsoft is putting this event that's called DigiGirls that happens every year in August. So we go and help. Or there's a school that's putting an event together and Nuevo Foundation gets called to say, hey, can you please do some sort of a virtual session or some sort of a coding workshop or a merge of the two? Can you do something along those lines for an event that's already been organized and the logistics are done by somebody else? So those are the 2 programs that we have. Here's just a little bit about the pictures. I think sometimes pictures can share a little bit more. So the first picture that's in there at the top left is part of the team of Nuevo Foundation. We were just having fun because we got new t-shirts. The second one at the top right is teaching a girl how to use, that was Visual Basic. We don't do that anymore, the Visual Basic, but we do the other type of coding such as Python. So that was very fun. The one below at the left, that is with the Brownie group. We use this little, it looks like a ping pong ball, and it's an sphere robot that you can control either using Scratch or JavaScript. And so what we do is we do these workshops where you build mazes or you build obstacles courses, and then the students are able to use Scratch to code how the sphere work. That works perfect for like elementary kids, elementary school kids. So that was very fun. And the last picture at the bottom right, it was the last event we had in person, where we got to bring 100 students from Yakima, which is about 3 hours or so from Redmond. And we got to bring all these students. For some of them, it was the first time that they came to the city. So it was very fun. We got to bring them to Microsoft, have them speakers, teach them how to code, and show them a panel of different folks that are in engineering and outside engineering, just to make sure that regardless of the path that the students decide to take, there's also other works in tech that doesn't necessarily involve being a computer scientist. Okay, awesome. And so all this work that I've been able to do either with like Microsoft at college, with Nuevo Foundation, and this passion for me to give back and to make sure that we have a more of a rainbow represented in tech and not just one color. As Ashley mentioned, this organization called AAAS, or the American Association for the Advancements of Science, and they selected 125 role models in the US and in other countries that we want the next generation of girls to think about science as something that they can achieve, or something that they can do. So I'm very lucky and grateful and humble to be able to be part of that group. And so as part of that effort, there were multiple things that were done, but one of them that was like super cool was to have a real life size statue. So the first picture that I have, that was in Dallas, Texas. They had the statues in a public park outside for about 8 months, where kids could go and families could go and learn about each of the ambassadors, what we do. And so I think that was just amazing, done by the IFTEN group. And then the reason the statues were made is because if you think about it, when was the last time that you saw a statue of a woman in any public place? Probably the first thing that comes to mind is the Statue of Liberty, but that's a symbol. It's not necessarily a person. So we wanted to change the narrative that women are also scientists, that women are part of a STEM, and it should not be something like extraordinary. Anybody can be a scientist if they want to. So that happened in Dallas, and then a fun story that happened, and that is a 4th grader reached out. Her mom reached out and said, like, hey, like, we saw the statues. Your statue was super cool. We love Microsoft. Can you come to the school and give a talk? And that happened, and it was super fun. I got to teach some kids in Dallas how to code, making music with Python. And on top of that, was able to share and address all the questions from middle schoolers about being at Microsoft, being a Latina in tech. So that was pretty fun. And then in January, we are informed of this super exciting news that our statues will be placed at the Smithsonian's. So the second picture that's there is at the Smithsonian Castle. That's me and the statue, and then all the other statues got placed between the Smithsonian Castle, the gardens, and 3 other museums. So that it was pretty amazing to see someone like me, a foreigner. I never thought that I could work at Microsoft, or less that I would have a statue of myself for the work that I'm doing, which, by the way, I'm super passionate about. So it was pretty amazing moment to see that and see so many government officials to visit, to interact with us, and families that would come and share, hey, thank you so much, like other Latino families, to see someone that looked like them being represented. So it was very fun. They were around for the month of March, and it is still unclear where else would the statues go. But if you're interested, or if you have kids in your family or something like that, that you would like to show them multiple role models, as 125 of us, there's the IFDN website, and in there you'll see where the statues will go next. And the last part that I have is my advice is what I have is to continue learning. Regardless of where you are in your career, I think there's always important to continue learning. That might be on a certificate, that might be on going back to school, that might be on learning on a new job. But something that I think it has helped me is being to continue learning. I learn from the kids that we teach. I learn from the team at Nuevo. I learn from my work at Microsoft. And I try to enroll in classes as I can. Right now, what I'm part of is the Washington cohort of founders. And so I've been learning a lot from them as well. Find your passion. Your passion is that something that when you do it, it doesn't feel like work. For me, is to help kids to find that. I learned how to code in university. I want to make sure that the kids that I can help, they get to code way earlier than I did and have more advantages that I did. So that's my passion, but find yours, and any passion works. And if you're listening, you work at Microsoft or at a tech company, I'm almost certain that all your managers will be supportive of that. And the last thing that I have is be who you are and do what you love. Something that I'm very happy to share, that, at least at Microsoft, is that you can be whomever you are. And I think that's important. And doing something that you love, it just helps to have fun and just to be happy when you're doing the work that you do. There's this one last thought, which is rewrite the rules of the world. We got to go to Grace Hopper, and then Microsoft picked certain quotes. And so this quote is for me. And the reason for that is, like, if you don't like something, you can change it, you can redo it, you can rewrite the rules of the world. And that's just something that I try to share, especially with kids. But sometimes at the end of the day, we're all kids inside, is to make sure that if you don't like something, tech has this power to change what you don't like. So hopefully you feel empowered. If you want to see better things, that you can do something about it. If you want to stay in touch, all social at Beatris Gandica. If you're new to coding, maybe you never coded and you don't mind learning on kids content, Nuevo Foundation.org, everything is free. There's a workshop page. We have over 20 something workshops that you can learn. Or if you have any kids or like cousins or nephews or neighbors, I encourage everybody to try it. At the end of the day, it's trying it, and coding is one of those things that can give you puzzle solving skills that are useful regardless of the work that you do. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. What an amazing story, and what a great presentation. Do you still do any of the teaching at your foundation, or?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes. So today we have 2 workshops and 2 panels. So I'm not teaching today, but yes, I taught this year already. I did the meme. So we teach kids how to make a meme with a cat. They can pick any image, with just like the cat. And then yes, but any opportunity. And then when it comes to Spanish teaching, then I try to help a little bit more, just to make sure that we can get the message across in that. So yes.
Awesome. Well, I think it's so inspiring, and I think that hopefully we can inspire more people to open up STEM for the future generation. Just like you are. I wish that I had that when I was a kid in school.
Right. Yes.
That's awesome. So if we don't have any other questions, I would just like to thank you for being our guest today and for the amazing presentation. And I would like, at the same time, I would like to remind our listeners that the best way to ensure you don't miss any future webinars or major announcements is to visit our landing page at aka.ms/securitycommunity. And then here, let's see if we had some questions. We have some people thanking you in the Q&A here just for an inspiring talk. And we have a comment in Spanish here. My Spanish isn't that isn't as good enough to read that. But just a lot of congratulations. But yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. So I'll just continue on with my outro here. So please visit our landing page at aka.ms/securitycommunity. While there, you'll find easy ways to navigate and find the resources and learning content relevant to our security products and their communities. A good start would be browsing our bite-sized product videos, ninja trainings, recordings of past webinars, GitHub communities, and more. We'd love to hear your feedback on how we can improve these webinars. Please take a minute submitting your webinar feedback at aka.ms/security webinar feedback. Thank you and see you next time. Goodbye.